I don't know about you, but I've noticed a trend in the last few years, and maybe it's been happening more than the last few years. But the trend seems to be, culturally, that we want to get to Christmas sooner and faster every year. I don't know how long this has been the case, but Star 93.3 is one of the radio stations that I have pre-programmed into my car to listen to, Christian pop music when I'm feeling spiritual when I'm driving. And this year, Christmas music started the day after Halloween on Star 93.3. Did you know that? The day before. Well, there you go. I guess I was listening to B105 before that. The day before Halloween. This year, on my street, on Center Street, Christmas lights, the first house that had Christmas lights up, had them up the first weekend in November. I don't know about you, but it used to be acceptable to turn on your lights starting on Thanksgiving. I think there's this desire culturally to get to Christmas. We need a little bit more joy. And I started seeing this happen during the pandemic. And I think it made a lot of sense. Culturally, worldwide, people were longing for hope, longing for cheer, nostalgia, warmth, comfort. And during those lockdown pandemic years, I think this is when a lot of this began culturally. We just needed Christmas cookies and Old St. Nick and all of the cheer that comes along with the mistletoe. But the trend has sort of stuck. And as an amateur student of culture and society observing these trends, it's fascinating to me that on the one hand, we can't wait to get to Christmas. We can't wait to bake the cookies and decorate the tree and turn on the lights. And then the second Christmas is over, we want to pack it all up and put it all away as fast as we can. On December 26th, the day after Christmas, I was certainly feeling the Christmas bloat. I was up late the night before here. What a wonderful Christmas Eve. About 1,000 people came to worship. It was a night filled with joy and festive fun, greeting people and seeing folks that haven't been around in a while. I got home late at night and had to take care of the house, and it was an early next Christmas morning and all the chaos and fun that comes with it. And on the morning of December 26th, I woke up feeling that Christmas bloat. Ooh, I got to go to the gym, I said. So I got in my car and I turned on my radio and I had it set to Star 93.3. And wouldn't you know, the day after Christmas Day, the carols were gone. Do you know that? They're off the radio the day after Christmas. And for those of us that are raised or steeped in a liturgical Christian tradition, we know that it's 12 days of Christmas. It begins on Christmas, and it's supposed to go until the season of Epiphany and all of these things. Well, culturally, though, December 26th, we're ready to pack it all away. And as I drove home from the gym, I started noticing that a lot of the signs of Christmas were already disappearing. And within 3 days, yesterday, the 28th, there were already 4 Christmas trees out on the curb on my street. Maybe your street's similar? We can't wait to set it all up and to decorate it all, and then we, in a hurry, want to pack it away and move on. It's not just a cultural observation, it's also an observation of my own heart this year. If I'm really honest with all of you, I'm kind of done with Christmas. I know, but I am. And it's not so much Christmas, it's 2024. I am ready for 2025. And here we are with 1 foot in this year and 1 foot in the year ahead. 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 And 1 foot in I think it's all accelerated by the fact that if you turn on your TV right now, you find all of those end-of-year specials, what happened in 2024, all of the cultural high points and low points of the last year. My social media feed, the algorithm is now sending me on overdrive workout programs and planners and all of those things that come with the new year. New intentions, new goals, new aspirations right around the corner. I even have here my planner that I plan to fill out for Q1 of 2025. And let me tell you guys, if you don't have one, you should pick up a full focus planner. The sermon is not sponsored by Michael Hyatt, but I'm here to tell you, this is the best planner I've ever found. I'm a planner by nature. I love a good old-fashioned paper planner. You've got a weekly preview. You have your big 3 goals of the day. You can even set out intentions for the whole year. And I can't wait to fill all of these annual goals out. I can't wait to assign a quarter of the year to them. I can't wait to just move forward. And not just personally, I can't wait for Good Shepherd. Do y'all know that 2025 is going to bring some really exciting things in the life of our ministry? We're going to start the year off here at Good Shepherd by welcoming another pastor, Pastor Melinda, who I know in short time will become the favorite pastor of Good Shepherd. Why do I know this? Because I've known Melinda for a decade. She's amazing. She was a member of my last congregation before she felt called to seminary and went off to Lutheran and began the ordination process. I know that Melinda will be your favorite pastor. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for us. Our church council at the end of the year approved a process to do master facility planning and studying. We've consulted with Visioneering Studios, a nationwide firm, to come in and hold a collaborative conversation to look at our campus and to say, how is it working? How is it not working? We'll have renderings drawn up. We might even eventually decide on some things together to renovate and enhance here at 7701 Kenwood Road. It's going to be an exciting year. The week before Christmas, I started writing the first 2 weeks of the Lenten journey. I can't wait for 2025. And yet, there's a little small voice in the back of my mind that feels convicted about that because we're still right here. It's still Christmas. And as I prepared for this sermon and I read through the gospel for this week, I discovered that there's this beauty found in this one story of Jesus as a child. Just like us in our festival celebrations, Jesus and his family were celebrating a festival, the most important festival for the Jewish people. We're told that every year Christ and his family would travel to Jerusalem. They would go to the temple. They would worship God. They would offer the sacrifices. And this was the 12th year in his life. He had made this journey, not just with his family, but with his community, with relatives and friends, neighbors, traveling to Jerusalem to celebrate. We know that the festivities had to have taken place and worship had happened and the observances in the temple had gone faithfully, and it was time to pack the caravan up and head home. And I have to think that Mary and Joseph and the neighbors and the friends and the relatives were not all too different than you and me. Time has changed, culture has changed, society has changed, but the human heart and the human mind, I don't think have changed a whole lot. And I imagine they were busy readying the caravan. We don't know if they had donkeys or camels or wagons or if they were just all traveling by foot. A whole sermon could be preached here about the fact that they don't even notice Jesus is missing for a day. Modern day helicopter parents scoff at that and think Mary and Joseph, terrible parenting. I actually think it's beautiful. They didn't need to hover over their own child because they trusted the community and it's much more communal living. But they do notice Jesus is missing, and so they head back to Jerusalem, another day's journey. And then once they're there, 3 days looking for him. I can't help but wonder if on that caravan ride home, Mary didn't have her full focus planner out, just thinking ahead, if Joseph wasn't thinking about his carpentry shop and the next project he had to do. I can't help but wonder if all of the relatives and friends, now that the festival was over, weren't feeling a little bit of anxiety. Maybe you're feeling it. You've got to go back to work in a number of days. Or maybe at school. You want to hang on to the celebration, and yet you know reality's coming. Yet they go back to Jerusalem, and after searching and looking for Jesus, they find him in the temple. Of course, right? Jesus is there as a 12-year-old talking to the scribes and the leaders, and he's asking them questions, and they're responding, and Jesus is sharing his own wisdom, and all are marveling and wondering at this. And I think to myself, of course. Of course. It's usually the adults that are ready to move on, to pack up, to move forward, but I think it's the children that understand intuitively that there is a beauty and gift found in being present and not packing the festival up. It's very much true that I want to move on to 2025. I want to move 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road right now. My kids can't even tell you what day it is. They know it's Sunday because 2 of them are in the nursery right now. They, if they could, would hang on to Christmas forever. Why would they ever want to go back to school? Why would they ever not want to soak and enjoy this season up for all that it has to offer? And while the family caravan was headed back to Nazareth, Jesus was lingering in his Father's house. And so here's the invitation for us. If you're like me, maybe you're feeling the temptation to move forward, to start planning. Maybe your mind is already half filled with worry and anxiety about the work projects and the family projects that are waiting for you. But if this first Sunday in Christmas offers us anything, it's an invitation to linger a little bit longer, to put off the planning, because it'll come, and to sit like Christ in the beauty and the mystery of this gift. If Christmas is about Christ being with us, we see here on this first weekend in Christmas that Jesus wanted nothing more himself than to be with his Father. He didn't want to let go of the festival. He stayed when others left. And so in what may be the simplest, shortest sermon of the year, that's my invitation to you, is to resist packing up the tree and putting away the tinsel, maybe even just a few hours longer, a day later, to sit and enjoy this in-between time so that you can once again hear and see the presence of God with you. Because here's what I know to be true. 2025 will bring twists and turns to all of our lives, to our life here communally. Certainly there will be joyous, beautiful, holy, exciting days ahead, but there will also be hard days when you and I are feeling overwhelmed and worried and concerned. 2025 will be a year unlike any other year, and yet just like every other year. But through it all, God will be present. God will be with you. God will be with us. And lingering in the temple a little bit longer is less about us trying to be with God for a few more days than it is about us sitting and quieting our hearts and our minds to see that God will always be with us. And so as we sit for a moment in silence, as we hear the sound of rain falling on the roof, may you be comforted by this truth. God knows your future. God knows your story. God will go with you because God loves you. Amen.